I was elbow deep in paperwork at my desk in Billings, Montana, when the phone rang. It was an unknown number from out near Flathead Lake, where my family had dragged my daughter Lily off for a so-called relaxing getaway. Something in my gut twisted as I picked up. "This is Emily Harper," I said, trying to sound steady. The voice on the other end was calm. Too calm, the kind nurses use when they're delivering bad news without causing a panic. "MS. Harper. This is Glacier Regional Hospital. We have your daughter, Lily. She's stable now after a severe allergic reaction." Stable. That word hit like a punch to the chest. It meant there'd been a time when she wasn't. My 10-year-old, alone and fighting for air, while I was 2 hours away shuffling HR files for the local cattle co-op. I bolted out of the office without a word to anyone. Keys in hand, heart pounding like a stampede. The drive west on I-90 was a blur of rolling prairies and distant Rockies. The kind of wide-open space that usually clears my head, but now just amplified the terror. Tears stung my eyes as I gripped the wheel, replaying every what-if in my mind. Lily had always been sensitive. Peanuts could send her into hives, but we'd managed it with EpiPens and vigilance. How had this happened? I dialed my sister Sarah first. She picked up amid laughter and splashing water.
"Ink.
You should have come. The lake's perfect. Dad's grilling burgers. And the kids are building forts out of driftwood." Her cheer grated like sand in a wound. "Where's Lily?" I demanded, cutting through the noise. A beat of silence. Then too casual. "Oh, she's back at the lodge. Wasn't feeling great. Some tummy ache or whatever. Mom figured she'd rest up. No biggie, we're not far."
No biggie.
My blood ran cold. "You left her alone?" Sarah sighed. That exasperated tone she always pulled when I overreacted. "Not alone.
Eminencia."
The front desk guy's watching her. She was being a bit dramatic, saying her throat felt funny. We gave her a choice, come or stay. She chose stay. A choice. To a kid who might be swelling up inside. I hung up without another word, flooring the gas. The GPS droned on impassively, guiding me through the nightmare like it was just another errand. By the time I hit Kalispell, my knuckles were white, and the questions were clawing at me. How do you ignore a child's plea? How do you pick a lakeside barbecue over her safety? Pulling into the hospital lot, I parked crooked and ran inside, the crisp mountain air doing nothing to cool the fire in my veins. The pediatric unit smelled of antiseptic and quiet desperation. A nurse pointed me to room 204. There was Lily, propped up in bed, pale as fresh snow, and 4 in her arm and oxygen prongs in her nose. Her eyes lit up when she saw me, but then crumpled into tears. "Mom." I rushed to her, folding her into my arms, feeling her small body tremble. She clung like I was her lifeline, and in that moment, I wished I could absorb every ounce of her fear. "I'm here, baby. I'm right here," she whispered against my shoulder. I told them I couldn't breathe right. Grandma said I was just whining for attention. The words sliced deep. My own mother, Mary Harper, who'd raised us on tough love in our dusty ranch house outside Billings, dismissing her granddaughter like an inconvenient chore.
Dr.
Reynolds came in soon after, clipboard in hand, his face etched with that professional empathy. "She's lucky. Miss Harper. Anaphylaxis from what looks like a cross-contamination, maybe nuts in a snack." The lodge clerk noticed her struggling and called 911. Paramedics got an EpiPen in her just in time.
Lucky.
As if fate should decide when family fails. "How close was it?" I asked, voice barely above a whisper. He hesitated, then leveled with me. Without that quick response, her airway could have closed completely. We're talking minutes. Minutes. While my family was flipping burgers and snapping photos by the lake, Lily had been minutes from gone. I stroked her hair as she dozed off, the meds pulling her under, and stepped into the hall. My phone buzzed, Dad. John Harper. His gruff voice barking through. Emily. Sarah says you're stirring up trouble. Kid's fine. Right? No need to make a mountain out of a molehill. I bit back the rage. She almost died. Dad. You all left her. He huffed. She was fine when we headed out. Your mom's handled worse with you girls. Toughen up, life's not a fairy tale. The line went dead, and something inside me snapped. Growing up on that ranch, complaints were met with walk it off or don't be soft. I'd broken my arm falling off a horse at 8. Mom wrapped it in a dish towel and said it'd heal. Sarah, for years older, embodied it stoic, unyielding, calling me a crybaby for every scraped knee. I'd internalized it, moved to Billings for a steady job, married Tom, and vowed Lily would never swallow her pain like I had. But here we were, the cycle repeating. That night, as Lily slept, I made the call. Not to them, to Child Protective Services. In Montana, neglect's no joke. Leaving a vulnerable kid unattended could trigger an investigation. I gave the intake worker the facts, timelines, what Lily said, the doctor's report. This is family, she said gently. You sure? I thought of Lily's trusting eyes. They weren't family to her today. Hanging up, I felt a cold resolve settle in.
No more enabling.
No more checks I'd been sending to help with the ranch upkeep, their legacy B&B for tourists chasing the Wild West dream. Cancelled. Effective immediately. The next morning, Lily was brighter, munching on hospital jello while I packed her things. Can we go home now? Mom, she asked, her voice small but steady. I nodded, forcing a smile.
Yeah, sweetie.
Home to our cozy place in Billings. No more lake trips for a while. The drive back was quieter. The landscape shifting from forested hills to open plains, dotted with cattle and the occasional oil rig. Lily chattered about school friends, avoiding the elephant in the room, but I could see the hurt lingering in her eyes. They didn't mean it, right? She finally asked. I glanced at her in the rear view. Sometimes people make bad choices because they don't know better. But that doesn't make it okay. By afternoon, the storm hit. My phone lit up like a Christmas tree. Texts, calls, voicemails piling up. Sarah first. CPS called the ranch. What the hell? Mom's freaking out. Then Mom. Emily.
How could you?
We're family. This could ruin us. Dad didn't bother calling. He showed up at my doorstep that evening, his pickup truck kicking up dust in my suburban driveway. Tom was at work, so it was just me, facing the man who'd taught me that emotions were weaknesses. He stood there, weathered face red, cowboy hat in hand like he was at a funeral. You reported us? To the authorities? Over a little mix-up? I crossed my arms, blocking the door. Mix-up? Lily could have died. Dad. You left her gasping in a lodge lobby while you all roasted marshmallows. He shifted, uncomfortable. We thought she was faking for attention, like you used to. The jab stung. But I held firm. That's the problem. You never listened then.
And you didn't now.
Mom appeared behind him, eyes puffy. Please.
Eminencia.
Retract it. The ranch is all we have. The tourists keep us afloat. Sarah pulled up minutes later, kids in tow, her face a mask of fury. You've destroyed everything. Guests are asking questions already. We argued in hushed tones on the porch, the neighbors' lights flickering on like judgmental eyes. You owe us loyalty, Dad growled. Loyalty doesn't mean covering up neglect, I shot back. They left in a huff, tires spinning gravel. But not before Mom whispered, think about what you're doing to your own blood. That night, as Lily slept in her room decorated with horse posters and dream catchers, a nod to our Montana roots, I scrolled through old photos. Family barbecues at the ranch. Sarah and me riding bareback as kids. Mom's apple pies that won blue ribbons at the county fair. But beneath the nostalgia was the rot, the times I'd cried alone in the barn. The way Sarah's toughness hid her own breakdowns. I'd broken free, built a life with Tom in the city, raising Lily to name her feelings, to cry if she needed. Yet I'd let them pull her into the same web, thinking supervised visits were harmless. No more. The CPS investigation kicked off fast. Montana law mandates quick action for child endangerment. A caseworker named MS. Alvarez visited me first, then Lily, who recounted the day with heartbreaking clarity. Aunt Sarah said I was spoiling the fun. Grandpa told me to buck up. Alvarez nodded sympathetically. We'll interview the others. This could lead to charges if neglect's confirmed, misdemeanor at least, with fines and classes. I didn't gloat. Part of me ached for the fallout. But protecting Lily trumped everything. Words spread like wildfire in our small world community. The local paper, the Billings Gazette, picked it up. Family ranch owners under scrutiny after child's allergic emergency. No names yet, but whispers flew at the co-op where I worked. Co-workers shot sympathetic looks. One even said, "Good for you." Standing up. Sarah texted nonstop. Fix this.
Eminência.
The B&B's bookings are tanking. I ignored most, but replied once. This isn't about revenge. It's about accountability. Deep down, though, the drama churned, old resentments bubbling up like a geyser in Yellowstone. As days turned to weeks, the pressure mounted. Dad's blood pressure spiked. Mom stopped answering calls from friends. Sarah's husband, Mike, lost a contracting gig because clients didn't want the association. The kids, my nieces and nephew, switched schools to escape the gossip. I felt the weight, questioning if I'd gone nuclear over a mistake. Tom held me one night as I sobbed. You did what any mom would. They chose the lake over her safety. Lily, sensing the tension, drew me a picture, us two under a big sky, labeled safe together. It steeled me. Then came the turning point. Alvarez called. The family's cooperating. They're admitting fault, requesting family mediation instead of court. Mediation, a Montana program for resolving disputes humanely, focusing on education over punishment. I agreed, wary but open. The session was set at a neutral office in Missoula, halfway between us. Driving there, nerves knotted my stomach. What if they doubled down? What if I couldn't face them without exploding? We sat in a circle, me,
Tom,
Lily with a counselor's okay, my parents,
Sarah, and Mike.
Alvarez mediated,
Her voice steady.
This is about healing,
not blame.
Dad started gruff. We didn't mean harm. But as Lily spoke, I was scared. And no one believed me. His face cracked. Mom wept openly. We raised you girls that way. Thought it built character. Sarah, tears streaming, admitted, I was wrong. I should have listened. For the first time, they heard us. Really heard. The mediation room felt like a pressure cooker at first, the air thick with unspoken grievances. Alvarez guided us through it step by step. Starting with facts, the lodge clerk's 911 call, the paramedics' report, Lily's hospital charts showing her oxygen levels had plummeted. No sugarcoating, just cold. Legal reality under Montana's child protection statutes. Neglect could mean up to a year in jail. But mediation offered a path to probation, classes, and restitution without a trial. Dad fidgeted with his belt buckle. The one engraved with our ranch brand, a steer under a big sky star. We get it was wrong, he muttered. But calling the cops? That's betrayal. I leaned forward, voice steady despite the tremor inside. Betrayal was leaving Lily behind. She told you her throat was closing, and you called it drama. Lily, sitting beside me, squeezed my hand. She'd insisted on coming, brave beyond her years. Grandpa, it hurts so much, she said softly. The room went silent. Mom broke it with a sob.
Oh,
honey, we thought you were like your mom at that age, always exaggerating to get out of chores. Sarah nodded, guilt etching her face. I did the same to you.
Eminência.
Pushed you to cowboy up because that's what Mom and Dad drilled into me. It was the closest to an apology I'd heard in decades. Alvarez prompted deeper. What led to that choice at the lake? They spilled it, Mom admitting exhaustion from running the B&B. Dad confessing pride in our resilient family legacy. Sarah revealing stress from her own kids' demands. We didn't see the signs, Sarah said, voice cracking. I regret it every second.
Tom,
ever the peacemaker, added, we all want what's best for Lily. Maybe this is a chance to rebuild. We talked for hours, peeling back layers. I shared my childhood scars, the isolation on the ranch, the way complaints were dismissed as weakness. You taught us silence was strength, but it nearly killed Lily. Dad's eyes welled up.
A rarity. I see that now.
We failed you both. By session's end, we had a plan. They'd attend parenting and allergy awareness classes through the state's family services. Probation for 6 months. Community service at a local kids' camp, teaching outdoor safety. Ironically,
no fines.
But they'd cover Lily's medical bills and therapy sessions. And family counseling, ongoing, to mend the rifts. As we left, Mom hugged me tentatively. Can we try again? I nodded.
Guarded. Slowly.
For Lily's sake. Back home. Life inched toward normal. Lily returned to school. Her EpiPen, a constant companion. And she started seeing a counselor who specialized in family trauma. It's okay to feel mad, the therapist told her. But forgiveness is a choice. I watched her bloom, joining a 4-H club, raising a calf for the fair. Her confidence growing like spring grass after a harsh winter. The ranch felt the hit. Bookings dipped as word spread in tourist circles. But instead of folding, they adapted. Dad posted an honest update on their website. We've learned from a family mistake. Safety first. Always. Surprisingly, it drew supportive comments from folks who'd faced similar issues. Sarah called weekly, not for favors, but to check in. How's Lily's project going? She'd ask. Genuine interest replacing her old dismissiveness. One weekend, we visited the ranch, cautious steps. The air smelled of hay and pine, the Rockies looming like silent guardians. Lily rode her favorite pony, laughing as Grandpa showed her roping tricks. But when she mentioned feeling a bit queasy after lunch, everyone froze. Tell us more, Mom said, attentive. It was nothing, just excitement, but the shift was palpable. They believed her. As months passed, the legal cloud lifted. Probation ended with glowing reports from their classes. They've shown real growth, Alvarez told me. The B&B rebounded. Rebranded as Harper Haven, family-friendly adventures with heart. They even added allergy protocols. Inspired by Lily. Dad confided during a call. That scare opened my eyes. Tough love ain't always love. It wasn't perfect. Old habits died hard, but the drama had forged something stronger. One evening, as Tom and I sat on our porch watching the sunset paint the plains gold, Lily ran up with a drawing. Our whole family around a campfire. Smiles all around. "We can be better," she said. I pulled her close. Heartful. The revenge I'd initially craved had morphed into redemption, not just for them, but for us all. In the American West, where survival demands grit, we'd learned that true strength includes vulnerability. Yet doubts lingered. Had I pushed too hard? The answer came in small moments, Sarah apologizing fully during a counseling session. Tears flowing as she admitted, "I was jealous of how you raised Lily free." Heard. I wish we'd had that. Mom sending care packages with nut-free treats. Notes saying, "Listening now." Dad teaching Lily to fish at the lake, the same one insisting, "If anything feels off, we stop. No questions." The lessons settled gently. Families break. But with honesty and effort, they can heal. No dramatic burndown. Just quiet growth under that vast sky. Summer rolled in like a warm breeze, bringing county fairs and long days on the ranch. We'd agreed to a trial visit, Lily and I driving out for a weekend, Tom joining later. The drive felt different this time. The highway winding through valleys where wildflowers dotted the hills like confetti. Lily hummed along to the radio. Her EpiPen clipped to her belt loop, a reminder. But not a shadow. "Think they'll like my new drawings?" she asked. I smiled. "They'll love them, kiddo." Pulling up to the ranch, the sign gleamed fresh. Harper Haven, where family comes first. Dad waved from the porch. His usual stoicism softened by a genuine grin. The weekend started tentative. Mom bustled in the kitchen, whipping up a spread with labels on everything, nut-free zone. Sarah's kids tackled Lily in hugs, dragging her to the barn for pony rides. We gathered around the fire pit that night, stars blanketing the sky like a quilt. Stories flowed, not the polished ones, but raw. Dad shared about his own dad, a hardscrabble miner who never showed emotion. "Thought that's how you raise M strong. But I see now it just builds walls." Sarah nodded. "Those classes? They hammered it home. Kids need to be seen." Lily piped up. "Like when I say I'm scared. You listen." Mom pulled her into a side hug. "Always. From now on." It wasn't all smooth. Tensions flared when Dad grumbled about a canceled booking. Folks still whisper about that incident. I met his eyes. "That's the cost of change." He sighed, nodding. Fair enough. By Sunday, bonds had mended a bit more. Lily and her cousins built a fort from hay bales, their laughter echoing across the pastures. As we packed to leave, Mom pressed a jar of homemade jam into my hands, nut-free. "Of course. Come back soon." I hugged her. "We will." Step by step. Back in Billings. The rhythm continued. Lily thrived. Her school project on ranch life earning an A. Therapy helped us all, family sessions via video. Unpacking decades of tough-it-out mentality. One call. Sarah opened up. "I resented you for leaving. Eminência. Thought you abandoned the legacy. But you were saving yourself, and now, us." It hit deep. I'd always felt like the outsider, the sensitive one who couldn't hack ranch life. But vulnerability had become our bridge. The legal wrap-up came quietly. The court dismissed charges after probation, citing successful rehabilitation.
No fanfare.
Just a letter affirming growth. The B&B flourished anew, with reviews praising their compassionate hosts. Dad even volunteered at a youth allergy clinic, sharing Lily's story anonymized. If it saves one kid, he'd say. Fall brought reflection. At the state fair, we all met up, booths of fried treats, carefully checked. Rodeo shows thundering under lights. Lily won a ribbon for her calf, beaming as Grandpa hoisted her up. Amid the crowds, Mom pulled me aside. Thank you for forcing us to see. We almost lost her, and you. Tears welled. I almost lost faith in us, I admitted. We hugged. The kind that heals old wounds. The humane shift wasn't overnight magic. It was work, consistent.
Gritty.
Like breaking a wild horse. But the lesson landed light. Believe the vulnerable. Listen with heart. And family can endure any storm. In the West's unforgiving terrain, we'd found grace in forgiveness. As winter neared, snow dusting the peaks, peace settled. No more drama's sharp edges, just quiet strength, woven from empathy. Lily summed it up one snowy evening. Families mess up, but love fixes it. Wise beyond her years. My fierce girl. Winter in Montana wrapped us in a blanket of snow, the kind that muffles the world and forces introspection. The ranch hunkered down, tourists scarce, giving my family time to reflect. Phone calls became routine, not crisis-driven, but warm check-ins. How's the city treating you? Dad would ask, his voice softer, laced with genuine curiosity. Sarah sent photos of her kids sledding, captioning, "Wish Lily was here, safely." Of course. Mom mailed knitted scarves, each with a note, made with love and listening ears. Lily's therapy wrapped up strong. She emerged resilient, advocating for herself like a pro. At school, when a classmate downplayed an injury, she insisted, "Tell the teacher, it's okay to need help." I beamed with pride, seeing the cycle truly broken. Tom and I grew closer too, our quiet evenings a sanctuary. "You saved us all," he said one night by the fire. I shook my head. We did, together. Spring thawed the ground, and with it, full reconciliation. We planned a family gathering at the ranch, not a trip, but a grounded reunion. Driving out, Lily buzzed with excitement. "Think we'll roast marshmallows?" The air hummed with possibility. Arriving, the place felt renewed, fresh paint, a new sign emphasizing inclusive adventures. Dad greeted us with hugs, not handshakes. "Proud of you."
Eminencia.
Over dinner, Mom's famous stew. Allergen checked thrice. We shared dreams. Sarah announced a new job at a community center, teaching empathy workshops. Inspired by our mess, she laughed self-deprecatingly. The weekend peaked with a hike in the foothills, wildflowers blooming under a clear sky. Lily skipped ahead, but when she paused, saying, "My shoes rubbing," everyone stopped. No eye rolls, just concern. "Let's fix it," Grandpa said, kneeling to adjust. It was small, but profound, the lesson embodied. Care first, question later. As we parted, tears flowed freely. "We've got a second chance," Mom said. I nodded. "Use it well." Driving home, Lily asked, "Are we okay now?" I smiled. "Better than okay." We've learned that real love means believing each other, even when it's hard. The story didn't end in flames, but in gentle light, a humane arc where consequences taught without destroying. The light lesson? In the vast American West, where independence reigns, true bonds thrive on vulnerability and trust. Families aren't perfect, but with heart, they endure. Looking back, that hospital call wasn't just a crisis, it was a catalyst. I chose protection over silence, revenge giving way to redemption. And in that choice, we all found our way home.